Well, let me tell you a story about a man named Jim and a man named Larry. Jim had grown up in a Baptist church and he had left the faith when he was young, though, as soon as he left home. And now he's navigating his life through just the problems and existence. And he was a short order cook in a little town south of us called Clinton. My brother, myself, and another brother in the Lord, whose name was also Rick, um, we were commissioned, as it were, by CCLF to be missionaries to Clinton for the summer, to live there, to help out with the church, to just do what we can to spread the gospel. And in hindsight, I think it was probably more about our own discipleship than it was about the town of Clinton, but both were blessed, and God used both. Used our time there for eternity. It was quite amazing. So then there's Larry. Larry was a minister at the local Pentecostal church. Grew up as a Christian, and there he's in the middle of this little town, across from the elementary school. And we met him, and we offered our services best we can through the summer, which was to give him help wherever we could, teach Sunday school, whatever, and be a general encouragement and for prayer, some assistance in the Sunday services, whatever practical ways we could. So one of the things we would do, kind of in an effort to reach out to local people, was we'd do a little pickup basketball game across from Larry's house at the elementary school. They had basketball courts. And so Larry would come over as well, and he'd come play, and it was another way for him to, connect with local people and also get just kind of the release of doing a little bit of sports. So one day under the sweltering sun, we're playing our guts out. It was like the championship or something, that we made up. It's a great game, some great competition, a lot of good laughs, and it was good. And that's when Larry went down. Well, first Larry went up. He went up to take a shot, and then he went down. He went down on his ankle, which kind of rolled. Seemed like it buckled underneath him, and he screamed out in pain like a man screaming out in pain like you'd never think. It was just like a banshee. I've never seen a guy in so much pain. And I think he must have ripped every tendon and ligament that was in his ankle or something. So the game stopped and got really awkward, and we're all standing around him. Myself, my brother, and Rick, we were kind of just knelt down, hand on shoulder, just like, oh, we're with you, man, and sorry. I think there were some forestry workers that would come out and some other government workers, and they were all standing around too, but it was a little awkward. It was kind of like, can we drag this guy off the court so we can keep playing, that kind of thing. And then Larry says something that I will never forget. He says this, and he said it in front of everybody: Rick, will you pray for me? So I look at Rick and nod, and he looks at me and nods back. So I reach down and I touch Larry's ankle, and he screams again. He just screams so loud, and I pull my hand back, and I go, oh man, this guy needs really to go to the hospital. And he says, pray. And so kind of literally out of obedience, I say a little prayer, like, just, God, would you heal our friend here? Excuse me. And I noticed actually the unchurched guys didn't know what to do. It was really sort of awkward, and they some of them paused and bowed their head, and other people looked up, and some people shuffled nervously. And I didn't look at it as an opportunity to preach or to take up an offering or anything like that. I just said the simple prayer and said, amen. And then in a surprise move, Larry jumps up, and he jumps to his feet, and he begins to walk around, a little bit limping a little bit on it, but saying, oh man, yeah, that feels better. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay, guys, hey, I think I'm not going to continue today, but I'll be back out tomorrow. And then he tootled off through the fence and back to his house, with everybody just kind of standing there, picking their jaws up from the ground, so to speak, and staring. And we were all a little bit dumbfounded. Wow, I have to admit. And my brother and Rick were also like, God, you are so cool. Thank you. What you just did. You just healed a guy in the basketball court. And we resumed our game in a little bit of kind of spaced out measure, but it was, man, so awesome. I think I slammed the ball that day. Well, probably not, but I just felt pretty high on Jesus. That was pretty cool. And so then, here's the kicker. Remember Jim? Jim was a basketball player. He played with us too. A couple weeks later, Jim sits down with us and he says, guys, I got a confession to make. He tells us that he was a backslidden Baptist. That's what his words were. And that seeing what happened there in the court that day, when we prayed and he got up, he goes, I knew right then and there that God really was real. That he really existed, and I better get back my life. And so he gave his life back to the Lord. Isn't that amazing? It's just so amazing what God can do when you're just A&W, available and willing. In John 5, Jesus said, my Father is always at work, and I am working too. And so let's just be bold to just join him in his work and see the harvest of God.